News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
KBNU News Time is 4:03. I'm Bill Walter with this news update. On KBNU's For the People program this past week, naturalist and renowned wildlife photographer Shauna Hart talked about misgivings she had about the proposed Golden Spike inland port going into Box Elder County. She was concerned about its proximity to the Bear River Migratory Bird Refuge and a lack of public accommodation at their board meeting. Ultimately, the Inland Port Board greenlighted the location. On KBNU's For the People yesterday, Tremonton Mayor Lyle Holmgren talked about some of the positive aspects, what an inland port would mean for the area as far as economic growth is concerned. He said it could mean hundreds of new jobs for Box Elder County.
The result is that it'll create, as you mentioned, it'll probably start off with maybe a couple of hundred jobs and then gear up to maybe 5 or 6 or who knows where they'll stop. But this is an opportunity for a couple of smaller communities to attract world-class type businesses into the area.
When it comes to citizens' concerns about light and noise pollution, Holmgren said the State Inland Port Authority Board has been receptive.
And one example, maybe a quick example of that responsiveness is we have, as part of Tremonton's goal, we want to be able to have a trail system throughout the city.
Oh, wow.
And so we worked with the Inland Port and with the developers, and we're able to come up with an agreement for a 20-foot easement going basically from Garland through Tremonton.
Holmgren said this would provide more areas to walk or bike or e-bike. He said as they approached the developers with this idea, they were very receptive and they were able to secure the necessary resources. The mayor said that was one way the inland port has helped to mitigate some of the other issues they have. KBNU News Time is 4:05. KBNU weather for tonight, partly cloudy skies, overnight low in the upper 50s, and then partly cloudy in the morning on Friday, and a chance of rain showers, slight chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon tomorrow, high in the mid-80s. 20% chance of showers and storms Friday night, just mostly sunny, and upper 80s on Saturday. It's been to 86. It's 85 right now at KBNU. Bring back the sounds you've been missing. Schedule a free hearing evaluation with Dr. Paul Daines at Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. KBNU News Time is 4:06. After a day-long search in the mountains near Causey Reservoir, Roy City Police said they have found nothing at the suspicious site they believed could be connected to the 1985 Sherry Warren cold case. Warren was last seen October 2nd, 1985. She was 25 years old at the time of her disappearance. Richard Moss was being trained by Warren at the Utah Employees Credit Union, Salt Lake main office, for 2 days, October 1st and 2nd in 1985. Moss says the last day he saw Sherry, they left the credit union a little later than usual due to an outage. Moss said that they walked out of the office at 6:25. They were on the second floor. They walked down to the bottom floor. They got into the parking lot, and she went left and I went right, and that's the last time she had been seen or heard by anyone, according to Moss. According to a 1987 newspaper article from the Salt Lake Tribune, as police began to suspect foul play after Cherie's car was found in Las Vegas. The case had 2 suspects, her ex-husband Charles, who died in 2022, and her boyfriend at the time of her disappearance, Kerry Hartman. Neither were charged in her disappearance. Those who knew Cherie, like Moss and others who were intrigued by her case, like Jarek Ofikins, both hoped Wednesday's search in the mountains near Causey Reservoir would find something that could light a flame to a case that's been dark for so long. Despite no new evidence being found, Moss is hopeful that Cherie's remains will eventually be found. And Brian Kohberger has waived his right to a speedy trial in a status hearing in court on Wednesday. The right to a speedy trial is a right guaranteed under the Sixth Amendment and would have caused the trial to begin in October. After several rounds of hearings back and forth between the prosecution and the defense over topics ranging from an alleged alibi, DNA processing, and the grand jury indictment evidence that was used to indict Kohberger in the first place. A Facebook page managed by the Gonsalves family posted Wednesday morning that they needed prayers, clarifying in the comments that they were afraid that Kohberger would waive his right to a speedy trial, dragging the process out potentially years. Kaylee Gonsalves is one of the 4 victims that Kohberger is accused of killing at an off-campus home near the University of Idaho. In a status hearing, the state accepted Kohberger's waiver request, saying while they would prefer to resolve the case sooner rather than later, they want the prosecution and defense to be properly prepared. A new trial date will be set at a later hearing. Kohberger faces the death penalty if convicted. KVNU News Time is 4:09. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
News Talk KVNU.
Hey, John Weiss here. At Heritage Ford in Tremont, we're your hometown dealer with the biggest deals. What does that mean? You'll get hometown service and better pricing than you'll see in any big city. That's why we created the Heritage ePrice experience. Check the price so that you can be sure you're getting the hometown deal.
Right now, you can get as low as 1.9% APR financing on select models. Some restrictions apply.
Come in and see your friends at Heritage Ford in Tremont. Get started at heritageeprice.com.
When a tiny drop causes a ripple and becomes a wave, it travels through all corners of the planet, sustains all forms of life, and provides streams of wonder, rivers of adventure, and oceans of discovery. One drop connects us all. Reserve your visit now to Loveland Living Planet Aquarium, a nonprofit organization.
I've been driving trucks for a long time, and safety is my #1 priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cash Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have 2 guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Thursday, August 24th. I'm Jason Williams, Bill Walter here in the studio as well. Thank you for joining us. 753-5868. 4 o'clock on Thursday means it's time for this week's For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill here in the studio. And it is officially, at this point, the end of the Pickleville season. We should just throw that right out there for folks who maybe want to try and grab 1 or 2 shows this upcoming weekend, and then they're done.
Yeah, I think so.
And just for those who have been asking since last week's show, as far as I've seen, Charlie, maybe you know, no announcement yet on the fall, the Halloween show that they always do.
No, they probably won't make that announcement until after the show closes.
That's what I would guess. But yeah, nothing yet on that. But it shows the popularity of that Halloween season show from Pickleville that so many people are asking if we've heard anything yet.
Well, you remember last year, Pickleville on Tour did a Halloween show here.
Yeah, an original, right?
Right. Well, it was like a variety show.
Oh, yeah.
And the Pickleville Playhouse actually reprised again the Addams Family.
After saying they were done doing it, they
fibbed.
They gave in to public pressure, and it's we've talked about this before. They could very easily just make that an annual thing that they do each and every year,
and they'd still pack the place.
It would still sell out, but. But I am hoping, just because I like to see their talent on display and things I haven't seen before, so I am hoping that they will try something new this year. But we'll see in the coming weeks. Hotel California, a salute to the Eagles. That's the big show this weekend.
Don't mention it.
Don't mention it.
Don't mention it. I'm apparently in trouble with.
Uh-oh.
With Hotel California or whoever. It's really hard to explain. The members of the real Eagles have been around forever. I mean,
decades.
They were part of Buffalo Springfield. Then they were part of the backup band that played for Linda Ronstadt.
I forgot about that.
Then they became the Eagles, and they did their thing for, I don't know, a decade and a half, something like that, or a decade. Anyway, in 1980, I guess it was, they just sort of went their separate ways. They drifted away as during their Hell Freezes Over tour. In 1984, when they came back, I'm not sure who it was probably Glenn Fry, said, we never broke up. We just took a 14-year vacation. Anyway.
And they've maintained that their personal relationships have never faltered.
No, I don't understand why they didn't just continue to make millions of dollars.
Yeah, I don't
forever.
Because they easily could have.
Easily.
And, what year was it they did the big reunion tour?
1984.
That was
the Hell Freezes Over tour.
Yeah. That was sold out. It broke records for selling out, I know.
Oh, yeah, $200 tickets, $250 tickets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was I think I've told this story before, but I happened to be in Salt Lake City for a different show the night that the Eagles were playing at what is now again the Delta Center, and you hear these jokes about the younger crowd when there's a band that's popular with the younger crowd in town. That the restaurants and cafes around the area get a little raucous.
Yeah.
Nothing compared to the Eagles fans in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Man, they were everywhere, and they were loud, and they were having the time of their lives before that show.
Yeah, you got to give it to the baby boomers.
They were enjoying their night for sure.
Anyway, shortly after the Eagles stood down, or whatever they did, these tribute bands started to be organized. And it becomes difficult to differentiate one from the other. Hotel California, the tribute to the Eagles, is different than Hotel California, the original tribute band, and is different than Hotel California, a salute to the Eagles. Different performers, different organizations, and there's dozens of other ones. Well, I wrote a story a couple of days ago about about that they were coming to town. A nice innocent promo. Well, this morning the manager of the Hotel California, a salute to the Eagles, called up in a 3-foot hover and announced that I had written this story about an entirely different group.
Really?
And I've been mea culpaing and
even though it wasn't directed at them. Sensitivities in the entertainment world, I'll tell you.
I guarantee you that I feel that I should have gotten the right thing. But you know what? I think if Hotel California, a salute to the Eagles, if their website had any information on it, I'd have found the right website. But you know what? All it has is these vague pictures from far away. You can't recognize anybody in them.
I will back you up on that. I was trying to share their show coming to town with some relatives, and it was, yeah. They need a marketing team. Let's put it that way, but...
Well, the road manager didn't think he needed or she didn't think she needed a marketing team. She just thought I should have plucked this information out of thin air.
Now, you could say that if you're the Eagles, I think.
Well, it's annoying. It would be bad enough if they all had different names, and some of them do, but... I mean, there's Hotel California. The Knights went out in Georgia.
Yeah,
it's absurd.
That's easy to get them confused. Yeah. I would imagine.
Yes,
and
believe me, I've learned more about the Hotel California tribe, whatever they are, than I wanted to know all about.
That's funny. That's
it's not funny. I feel stupid.
It would be frustrating, is what it would be.
Yeah,
but
I was doing a rapid repair job on the website this morning.
Well, I don't think you can be faulted for that. I think it's. This is what
I'm going to wear a bulletproof vest.
This is Saturday don't mess with Eagles fans. I tell you, even tribute Eagles fans.
I know that, but all of the images, it looks like they're going to come in with big screens and all that jazz.
Yeah.
From the images that are on the website and on their Facebook page.
Yeah, it looks like a really produced show, especially for a tribute band.
Yeah. So, that'll be good, but,
That's, and that is... Saturday night. Tickets are still available, presented by Cash Arts. So this is at the Eccles Theater.
And it's the start of their national touring season.
That's right. And Wendy Hassan is once again packed that touring season schedule. September 1st with the three of the Gatlin brothers, Larry, Steve, and Rudy Gatlin. The Gatlin brothers playing September 1st there. Comedy Night September 2nd. And then that takes us into the Music Theater West production of Ragtime, which starts off September 15th. So, yeah, and for tribute band fans, you have another opportunity October 14th to see a different tribute band, a band celebrating the band Bread. Their name is Toast, which I think is one of the most clever tribute bands names that I've seen. But Toast will be playing at the Eccles October 14th. Tickets still available for that as well. And you're welcome to join us.
And down the road a pipe,
yeah,
they're going to have a tribute band to the Carpenters.
That is, and that's not on the calendar yet.
Yeah, it is. Well,
or I'm not seeing it, but I did.
Maybe not.
Oh no, it is. Okay, it has been added. October 21st. Carpenters Platinum. That is a Karen Carpenter tribute band. So, Carpenters fans, that should be a fun night, actually. So, recently went through a little Carpenters stint. We'll talk about that later. Why that happened, but
I'll tell you why it happened. They appeared in the mid-1960s, and that alto voice was unlike anything else you've ever heard.
It was such a new thing. There are some great music journalist stories written about the Carpenters and their popularity. It was just so different and so unique at the time. Yeah, and still today, it's hard to find a band that completely compares, despite tributes and also copycats. But yeah, it's just timeless music too. 753-5868 if you'd like to join us. More of the Theater Hour with Charlie Schill here in the studio right after this.
At Visionary Homes, we appreciate the support of customers, trade partners, and all the wonderful residents of Utah who have voted us Best of Northern and Southern Utah multiple years in a row. Giving Visionary's gold medal service and quality to each of our buyers is our number one priority. At Visionary Homes, our expertise is creating and building a place where memories can be made and moments can happen. Simply put, built for living, built for you. Visionary Homes.
It's time to celebrate at Murdoch GMC Chevrolet Cadillac. Stop by for our 97th anniversary sales event. For nearly a century, we've been delivering excellence and quality service to the Wasatch Front and beyond. And we're not stopping anytime soon. Right now, receive 2.9% for 5 years on select Sierra 1500s. When you walk through our doors, you feel like family. At Murdoch Chevrolet GMC Cadillac in Logan or online at murdochchevroletlogan.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Call 866-628-3065 or see a dealer for complete details. Offer expires 9/5/23.
I spent a couple of minutes online to help pay for college.
A quick visit online made getting this federal job possible.
I logged in to ease my path to citizenship.
If you're a man age 18 to 25, go to sss.gov to register with the Selective Service System. It's your civic duty, and it helps secure access to lifelong benefits.
I registered because, hey, it's what you do.
Go to sss.gov and register today. It's the law.
Welcome back to Hotel California.
This is the original, not the one they played with the flamingo guitars in the Hell Freezes Over tour.
That's right.
With the long intro.
Long intro. That was, and there's video of that when it was played on that tour, and the crowd would go absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
It was just funny to see, but yeah, just an interesting band with a cult following. And one of my favorite things about the Eagles, Bill and I were talking about this when Bill and I both ran into each other at the Journey tribute band at the Cache County Fair, the final night of the fair, a couple of weeks ago. And
how was that?
They actually, I mean, honestly, if you...
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I would say this, if you're not a Journey fan, you weren't impressed. If you're a Journey fan, that lead singer's proximity to the original Journey frontman was uncanny. I mean,
yeah, he wasn't Steve Perry or the new guy. I can't remember his name, but he
he sound like Steve Perry.
Did a good job.
Yeah, he sounded so much like him. But we talked about these bands that have this kind of cult following that has built up over the years and is just to a large extent, cross-generational as well. And I've never been able to explain it. It doesn't make sense to me why certain bands. Here's my most unpopular music opinion. I think the Grateful Dead suck. I do. I think they are extremely untalented as musicians, as songwriters. I
think the Grateful Dead was playing for themselves and nobody else,
and I respect that.
And if you wanted to be there and drool over them, good. Otherwise, go away. Who cares?
I respect their following. But when if someone were to ask me, why do you think that build up around them, it wasn't their talent. It was
the drugs.
I'm assuming that's what it was. It was the culture and the drugs in which they rose, and then that just kind of, because I remember when I was going to school in Oregon, they came to town. They came to Eugene, Oregon, and man, it was I think that's the closest I will ever get to Woodstock, just walking by the night that concert happened. I was left to class.
Be careful, I was at Woodstock.
I would do anything to have experienced that.
Do you know the stupid... You got to picture this, okay? We're going in, three of us, and we're all ROTC guys. We all have short hair, right?
Narcs.
Yeah, sure. And we figure out and we've got maps, and we know where this place is. So we could park at a farm 8 miles away and walk cross country and jump over fences to get to the place.
Oh.
So the first thing we do, stupidly, is ask, where do we buy tickets?
Oh.
So everybody immediately thinks if they didn't just by looking at us, think we're narcs, you know?
You're there to make arrests and...
Yeah, and pretty soon the state police start arriving en masse, and we're sitting there watching this whole thing, and I'm thinking, well, what could the state police do? Say, okay, the 250,000 of you who are smoking drugs, move to that side of the field. And the 250,000 of you who aren't, move to this side of the field. Because we're going to arrest those 250,000.
That's good luck policing that situation, right?
So we walked another 8 miles back out.
just to make sure you didn't end up accidentally in the wrong group, right?
Yeah, we just decided this was not our scene.
That's funny. Oh, man, what a time and an iconic moment in music history, and a lot of bands that rose up out of that just for being there. 753-5868, talking theater, arts, entertainment, everything in between with Charlie Schill here in the studio, and we'll be back with more after the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 4:30, and the news is brought to you by U&I Furniture. A 58-year-old Logan man has been arrested for allegedly threatening to kill a bunch of people and himself, according to law enforcement. Derek Russell Anderson was booked into the Cache County Jail on Wednesday. According to an arrest affidavit, Anderson called employees at the Department of Workforce Services requesting additional money for food stamps. He made the threats to a division worker after his request for increased payments was denied. A Logan City police officer made contact with Anderson. He allegedly told police if his food stamp payments did not increase, he would have nothing left to lose and would go out in a blaze of glory, according to the probable cause statement. Anderson also told the officer he had military experience and training in explosives. After being placed under arrest, he said police were making his situation worse and pushing him closer to the edge. According to jail records, Anderson was booked on suspicion to commit a threat of terrorism, a second-degree felony. He's currently being held in jail pending arraignment of formal charges in First District Court in Logan. A wrong-way driver clocked speeding at over 100 miles per hour on I-15 in a construction zone overnight, claimed he did it intentionally to go have sex with a friend. 30-year-old William Emerson was seen heading south in the northbound lanes of the highway at around 1:30 Wednesday morning at the Weber County line in Sunset. A Utah Highway Patrol trooper spotted Emerson traveling over 90 miles per hour in the HOV lane and unsuccessfully performed a pit maneuver to get him to stop. Other law enforcement agencies responded, with a Centerville police officer reporting Emerson had hit speeds of 102 miles per hour before he was finally brought to a stop after going the wrong way through an active construction zone. While being interviewed at a UHP office, Emerson said he had smoked marijuana before the incident and takes prescription medication. Later in the interview, Emerson claimed he drove the wrong way so as to have sex with a friend and said the whole incident was fun. According to what the trooper wrote, Emerson showed no signs of regret and was very excited about the experience and had shown a great disregard for the safety of others in one of the most blatant and dangerous ways ever seen. Emerson was arrested and faces charges of reckless driving, reckless endangerment, DUI, and failure to yield. And the trial for a man accused of stabbing 4 University of Idaho students to death late last year will not happen as scheduled on October 2nd. KTVB out of Boise reports Brian Koberger waived his right to a speedy trial during an appearance in Lotta County Court on Wednesday afternoon. His attorney, Ann Taylor, spoke on his behalf and said that she may not be ready for the trial by October. Koberger is charged with 4 counts of murder in connection with the deaths of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin at a house near the Moscow, Idaho University campus last November. A not guilty plea was entered on his behalf earlier this year. KBNU News Time is 4:33.
UNI Furniture has always been here to give you great value for your money. When it comes to home furnishings, it really is always a better buy at UNI. And right now, UNI is closing out last year's model mattresses. Closeouts on new models and displays too. Memory foam, innerspring, and hybrids from a number of different name brand manufacturers. And ask UNI to show you this popular copper-infused mattress that sleeps cooler. And did you know UNI has a good selection of sheets and mattress protectors too? UNI Furniture, over 90 years in downtown Logan. There's always a better buy at UNI.
Former President Trump is on his way to Fulton County, Georgia, where he will be booked on election interference charges. He'll be processed for the most part like any other criminal suspect, but he probably won't sit in a general population waiting cell.
That's just not going to happen. That can't happen. You can't both have a functioning jail and have a normal process for the former president of the United States.
Former Georgia prosecutor Chris Timmons. Let him work. That's what New York Governor Kathy Hochul is asking the Biden administration, as she wants the state to get more help as it deals with an influx of asylum seekers.
Expedited work authorization so we can get these people out of shelters and into the jobs.
The governor wants to reduce a 90-day wait to apply for a work permit. The Orange County, California DA's office has identified the suspect in last night's deadly bar shooting as John Snowling. Separate sources say he was a retired police officer who was targeting his estranged wife. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
KBNU weather for tonight, partly cloudy skies, overnight low in the upper 50s, and then partly cloudy to start the day Friday. And a chance of rain showers and a slight chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon, 30% chance. Slight chance of storms on Friday night, back to mostly sunny on Saturday, and upper 80s for the high. It's been to 86. It's 84 right now at KBNU. Fall is just around the corner. Get your lawn sprayed for weeds and treated for those pesky voles. Call Logan Extermination 435-752-8450. And you can always get more news at CashValleyDaily.com. Let's check Wall Street now with Edward Jones.
This is financial advisor Clayton McMurdy from Edward Jones, bringing you the closing financial market report for Thursday, August 24th. Equities closed lower today, reversing earlier gains. Today's move follows NVIDIA's strong earnings release after market close yesterday. Despite high expectations coming into the quarter, NVIDIA reported second quarter revenue that was 20% above consensus expectations, and second quarter earnings per share nearly 30% higher than estimates, driven by artificial intelligence data center strength. Close to 95% of the S&P 500 has reported second quarter earnings, and results have largely exceeded expectations, although year-over-year earnings growth is set to decline for the third consecutive quarter. Current market expectations are for earnings to rebound modestly positive growth in the third and fourth quarters of this year, and to grow by double digits in 2024. The combination of falling inflation and resilient consumer spending is a backdrop that we believe could support corporate profits over the next several months. In equities today, the Dow closed down 373 points at 34,100. The NASDAQ closed down 257 points at 13,464, and the S&P 500 was down 60 points at 4,376. In bond markets, the 10-year Treasury yields are currently at 4.24%. And in commodity markets, the price of crude oil was flat at $78.98, and the spot price of gold was down $2.90 at $1,945.20. This has been today's Closing Financial Market Report for Thursday, August 24th. Brought to you by Clayton McMurdy of Edward Jones, member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and long-term financial advice at 1309 North Main Street in Logan. If you'd like current stock prices or any additional information, please give us a call at 435-753-0537 or visit any of our branches here in Cache Valley or online at edwardjones.com.
Friday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We will head you into the weekend with continued fallout from the debate on Wednesday in Milwaukee and Donald Trump turning himself down in Fulton County, Georgia. In what will the result be? Plus, Charlie Arnault joins us. Friday edition, Clay and Buck.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People.
There's Karen.
There's that voice.
She did have a fantastic voice.
Yeah. It's the Carpenters.
You know, none of that Christina Aguilera or the old, who else did that?
Janis Joplin was a bit of a screamer in the same era as the Carpenters, but...
No, Janis Joplin was dead when the Carpenters came out.
Oh, that's right. They would have been about 4 or 5 years separated, huh?
Yeah, it was probably 1970, something like that.
Yeah, when they...
Ticket to Ride.
That was... that was kind of my favorite thing about the Carpenters is on every album, they had the typical sound, the Carpenter sound with Karen's voice and, you know... And then on every album, they had their one song on each album.
That Richard could do something else.
Yeah, almost like, okay, here's yours. The most skipped song on every album, I'm sure. Oh, man. Carpenters tribute added to... So we've got the Bread tribute, Toast. We've got the Eagles tribute band playing this weekend. And then at the Eccles, October 21st, the Carpenters tribute band. So good fall for tribute bands. And it goes back to what we always discuss with Wendy Hassan and her touring season work. Because, you know, if she visited with us, if you didn't hear that show, you can listen on the podcast from several weeks ago. She was here in the studio, and she talked about how she does this. She went through the full calendar for the next 12 months, and then she also talked about how she makes this happen, and no surprise, but she said, you know, none of this is random. It's not just her looking to see who's available and calling desperately to see if they'll come in that night. She thinks this through, and you can see, you know, these themes like this kind of bubble up. Where last year, experimenting with the comedy nights, and they're a part of the season this year too. So that was obviously a hit. She's decided to stick with. And now this year, you know, the string of tribute bands kind of feeling things out, seeing what audiences are interested in and what will bring people to the theater. And this is my favorite thing about Wendy, and she said it when she was here in the studio that day. Her goal is not just to sell tickets and fill seats. Now, obviously, that is part of the goal. You know,
she's building an audience.
Yeah, she's building an audience. She's turning that theater and Cache Arts in general into a destination for various audiences, and it's honestly, it's amazing to watch. This is really showing what you can do with a fine theater like the Eccles, and just
the trick is you can do anything with that theater.
Sure.
You know, you can do Chinese acrobats, you can do plays, you can do anything.
And she does.
And she does.
Yeah, that's the fascinating thing about it.
She's just, of course, you know, it's so easy for her. She's a genius. What the hell?
Yeah, that's what That's what is amazing about Wendy and people in her line of work who have similar success. They have their finger on something, you know, which would be hard to do because audiences change and evolve. Things fall in and out of favor. I mean, we went through a whole decade when, what was it? Stomp. Was that the one? The garbage cans and the sticks and or the Blue Man Group, stuff like that. That was the audiences.
Those were big.
Yeah, they couldn't get enough of that stuff in the 90s.
Then whoop, they fell off.
Everybody got bored with it, and so you have to constantly know both what's popular, but also push that boundary a little bit too, and say maybe this would be popular.
But last year she did a thing like that where she brought in a bar full of Irish singers.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the name of the act,
I can't either.
The act was. It was wild.
A female friend of mine.
Wild.
Female friend of mine referred to it as the man show.
Yeah,
because that's kind of what it was, right?
Yeah.
It was a man cave themed
precisely
comedy. Yeah, it was,
and it was great.
Yeah, and well attended.
Yeah.
So I wonder at times if there are ever conversations where Wendy has people telling her, "Oh, that will never work," and then
she probably immediately books someone
just to prove the point that I like the experimentation that we're privileged to have access to right now. What Wendy's doing with the touring season at the Eccles, we've talked as well about what I forget which theater company is doing it now. Not Four Seasons. The kind of experimenting with some of these off
CTC.
Yeah, Cash Theater Company.
I mean,
Nonsense and Spam-A-Lot
and Young Frankenstein in October.
I'm excited about that.
I am. I'm on pins and needles.
No disrespect meant to Pickleville. I'm more excited about that than I am finding out what Pickleville decides to do, which I'll be there for that too, obviously. But Young Frankenstein, I think, is going to be an experience.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one, and it's been. I don't remember it being in Logan before.
Oh no!
Yeah, I know a company in Salt Lake did it 10 or 15 years ago, and it got some headlines actually in the Salt Lake Tribune art section, but that was long ago, and yeah, so I'm.
They've developed a niche for themselves, and I'm glad to see it. Because it's really exciting.
It's a smart move on their point.
You betcha.
And you've pointed this out before. They don't really compete, but they kind of the various theater
complement.
Compliments. Yeah, that's a good word. That's they don't compete, but they can't just copy each. They can't all be doing the same thing.
Everybody has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Look at Lindsay Kellstrom, okay? She comes to CTC. She does Bright Star. Then during the break for COVID, she sings Bright Star in a concert version at the Eccles.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Then she goes out and she directs for Music Theater West, Newsies.
And does a good job.
And her day job just happens to be with the education program at UFOMT.
Yeah, which is a perfect day job for someone like her to have.
And there's nobody who deserves it more because she pays her dues, she moves up the line, and bang, then she's there.
And to be honest with you, I know she wouldn't put it this way. But I think she has also shown she's willing to do things that, I hate to use this phrase, but she's had enough success and enough notoriety within these circles now. I think she has been willing to do things that she wouldn't have to do. Bit roles, or and she's good at it. And
Well,
I think that shows
it
her
isn't safe to give
dedication.
her. It isn't safe to give her a bit role. She did a bit role in She Loves Me last year for UFOMT.
That's the one I'm thinking
Stole
of.
every scene you could put her in.
That was because I remember my first reaction is like, really, with her talent, you're putting her in this, this role with such a limited time.
Well, of course,
and
but
then she did steal the show.
But look at the whole thing is that's a prime example of the kind of depth that the Festival Opera has. They can afford to put her in there. Or the ensemble cast, the ensemble choruses that their summer shows have had. They take those kids out and they perform in Sentimental Journey and they perform in the and they're dynamite.
Yeah.
And you say to yourself, why haven't these guys got better roles in the show? Well, because they're paying their dues.
Yeah, working their way up through, and I think that's really why it's such a healthy environment. Why you see people stick around.
Sure,
because that we've talked about this many times, but to put it a different way than the way we've usually discussed it, there are a lot of people with a lot of talent that have been in Cache Valley for several years now, part of this theater community, part of the entertainment community at large, that could be elsewhere. Maybe making more money, maybe spending more of their time doing this rather than having a day job. But they've chosen to stay for whatever reason, and I'm sure being in Cache Valley is a big part of that. But I think another part of it is the fact that this environment that they get to work in is so artist-centered and respectful.
Rewarding,
yeah, respectful to the artists instead of exploitative.
We have to change the subject.
Okay.
Did you go to see Les Mis?
Yes.
How'd you like Claire Francis?
I have spent the entire time since trying to. So in my head, this is a silly thing I do. I think of questions that I would be asked in like an interview, because I interview a lot here on the show every day. I think is why I do that. And I thought, what if someone were to ask me, was it better this year than last year?
What do you think?
I have to say yes, but then I start thinking maybe it was just really good both years. Because there was nothing wrong with last year.
No. But
this year I was more impressed.
It was different. It felt different, and I'm not sure why, but it did right off the bat. I mean, I asked my wife at the intermission, "Am I wrong? Is it better?"
It seemed better. Yeah. But again, I had a hard time saying that to people because I didn't want to say last year wasn't great because it was amazing.
It was.
But yeah, this year was. I'm the same as you. I don't know how to put it. It was different. One thing I will say, just based on the 2 years I've had a chance to go see this, and you as well. When this comes around next year, don't miss it.
Well,
this is high school kids.
We're not sure they're going to do Les Mis again.
Yeah,
they might do something simple like the Phantom of the Opera.
It's interesting because I feel like they're doing that on purpose. They're taking these kids these are young people they're in and just out of high school when this happens. And by just out, I mean at the oldest they might be is having graduated in May.
17 or 18.
Yeah, for a show that runs in August for a week here at the Utah Theater. And so these are very young people, very limited experience, and they throw them in Les Mis.
Tremendous talent, though.
And I went into it last year expecting what you would usually expect, which is these are kids doing Les Mis. It's not going to be, they're going to be mishaps. They're going to be forgotten stage points. They're going to be, nothing like flawless and honestly beautiful. The only way I thought to maybe describe how this year was different is most of us have seen or heard or at least know about Les Mis to the extent that we all know it. And some could probably sing every word. It's been around that long. I was still really moved this year by even knowing it's coming, knowing exactly what's going to happen next. This year was very moving. There were a lot of tears in the audience, I noticed this year. And I don't know if it was something about one of the players or all of the players. The stage was similar, and the way it was set up was the same, which I think that's part of it, too, how they got creative with their lack of that zero budget.
Oh, yeah.
and yet they still pulled off some of those lavish scenes.
The thing that got me this year was the young man who played Inspector Javert. He brought a sense of tragedy. Like this whole thing was that the battle between him and Valjean was fated. They were both locked into duty and their responsibility, so they didn't have any choice for how that came out.
Yeah.
And that seemed to me to be different than the previous year.
Yeah.
It made him more sensitive. It made him more likable.
Yeah, that's a good point, because last year, I'm trying to remember last year, my memory was it was more of kind of the very prideful, bull-headed Javert.
Bombastic,
up until the very end when he... this year, more sympathetic, more of kind of a broken figure struggling with this...
struggling with his duty.
Yeah.
Even when he didn't want to follow.
Versus his conscience. That is... Maybe that's what it was.
And, of course, there was Claire Francis.
Yeah.
who played Monsieur Thénardier.
Made my night.
Yeah. She was amazing.
Bright career there.
Dynamite.
In comedic roles, in serious roles. Just owned that character, which, as we discussed last week, is actually, I think, harder to do, because that's a character everyone who knows Les Mis that knows that character, and they have kind of an expectation of what that character is going to be like. So how do you make it your own instead of just playing?
You have to walk. You have to walk a very narrow tightrope between, hi, I'm very despicable.
Sure.
And two, I want to be likable.
Yeah. And I'm going to do a couple of things that borderline make me likable. Yeah. And the rest not. And that really stood out in
she
how
walked
it was played
that tightrope beautifully.
Yeah. It was well done. And like I say, if UFO brings this to town again, the best of the best, basically, award winners from around the state as part of this production 2 years in a row at the Utah Theater in August, both years. If they do it again next August, don't miss it. No matter what they're doing. If it's Les Mis again, if it's something different, because these are some talented kids. So... 753-5868. Charlie Schill here in the studio for our For the People Theater Hour. More to come right after this.
It's the return of the Rocky Mountain Kickoff, a high school football doubleheader played inside the USU Football Stadium on Friday, August 25th. The 6 p.m. game has Ridgeline versus Stansbury. The second game is Mountain Crest versus Pocatello. Tickets are $8 and on sale now at the USU ticket office. Then be there for the Fit Entertainment After Party on the South Concourse, featuring a DJ, food trucks, the 4-time world champion fire knife thrower, and a mechanical bull. Friday, August 25th at the USU Football Stadium.
We start each new year filled with hope and prosperity for things to come. At Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology, it's no different. Dr. Daines is so grateful to get to call Cache Valley home and continue to offer his services to the wonderful people that live in our beautiful valley. He wants to help you start your new year off right by improving your hearing, which over the course of time will help improve your quality of life. Give them a call at 435-753-4327 or 753-HERE to schedule an appointment, or you can visit them online at CacheValleyHearing.com.
Hey, have you ever tried really reaching out for
A little, is this toast or bread? This is bread.
This is the real McCoy bread.
That is toast.
It's the real stale bread.
The real stale bread. Now, a quick note on
mellow bread.
A quick note on toast, because Bill knows this, because I think you even went over to see them. Maybe I don't remember, but
no, I have not seen them.
Well, they've got a big billing this time. So they'll be playing. So you've got the Eagles tribute band this weekend. A couple weeks after that, Toast at the Eccles. And then in later October, the Carpenters band, tribute band, playing at the Eccles as well. And the first time I remember hearing of Toast, maybe it was Peach Days. I know it wasn't the Box Elder County Fair.
Yeah, I think they have been over in Brigham City, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I had friends that went to that and said it was a fantastic concert. That was
maybe that's
several
why I
years
remember
ago.
talking to you about it. I thought you had gone, but
no, it's people we know in common that,
okay.
that went to that, and they just raved about it.
So they're moving up though. Now they've got full billing with no opening band even at the Eccles coming up. So hats off to Toast. Are you a tribute band fan in general?
No.
I struggle with that too because if they're good, I just want to hear the band. If they're bad, it can be funny. I saw, if you ever get a chance to see them, now as far as I know, they don't play here often. They're from Los Angeles, but the last night of the legislative session, everyone on Capitol Hill was talking about this band that was going to be playing at a venue in walking distance of the Capitol. It was a bar, I'll just say it. So me and a bunch of Republican lawmakers went down to this bar and saw a band called Metalachi. And this is exactly as it sounds. This was a mariachi band with a singer, a front man that could recreate every 80s metal hair band voice. They did Queensryche, they did Motley Crue, they did, and he could emulate their voice. It was one of the most fascinating things I've ever seen, but a literal mariachi band behind him for the music. It was funny. It was one of the best shows I've seen. So if you ever hear of Metalachi coming to town, don't miss it. Next week, what have we got?
I'm not sure.
I think we actually cheated ourselves by starting the show with next week. We'll probably be talking ragtime a bit, at least. That's coming up.
And we'll be talking the Eagles. I'm ready to pick their bones.
We'll see. We'll have the review.